All right.
You plan to do this from 8 to 9.
Correct. Okay. Hello.
Hi.
My name is Claire Schott. I'm 16 years old, and this is my transition speech. I was born in Bar Harbor, and ever since I've lived in Tremont in a little log cabin with my 2 older brothers and my parents. My childhood was very traditional and simple, filled with boat trips every Sunday to church, daily dinners with my family, and camping trips. The reason I have the inspirations I do today is because of that large amount of time spent with my family as a child, largely influenced by my grandparents, as I will soon explain. But one of those passions is performing. I first started performing when I was 3 years old as a tap dancer with Tammy from the Baby Room. And then my most recent role was a lead in the fall musical as Little Red in Into the Woods. Between then, I played Little Piggy, Miss Piggy. I played Miss Pepto, which was a character dressed as the color of Pepto-Bismol. And I even played a knockoff Judy Garland. I love performing, I always have, and I think the reason why is because I get to be someone else. I don't have to be Claire Shaw, even if it's just for one song, and I think that is truly something amazing. I struggle with getting inside my own head and being trapped there, and it's not a good thing. So the fact that I can be someone else and I can live in that alternate reality is really something special, and it's always attracted me. When I was 5, I wanted to be Hannah Montana. When I was 12, I wanted to be Tara from Dance Academy. And today, I, of course, want to be Elsa. However, I knew then, as I know now, that I will not be able to have performing as my main source for finance, or I won't be able to do it to support myself emotionally or financially in my future. While I love it, I think that after high school, my performing days will come to a rest. My next passion has been traveling. My dad was a sailor, so he brings us to all of the islands that he fell in love with. And I can say with confidence that I've fallen in love with them too. My heart is honestly at every single place. A little piece of my heart stays there, and I think that is something so special that not a lot of people get to have and experience. Whether it's a road trip, a flight to Europe, or a boat ride to Islesford, I've always been up for an adventure, and I believe that I always will. Seeing as how traveling has been such a huge influence on my childhood and on who I am today, I know that it needs to be a part of my future. I believe the world needs to be seen and appreciated, and I plan on doing that while helping preserve it along the way. Today, I am a world activist. I'm a vegetarian for economic reasons. I only use reusable bags. I use metal straws to help save the oceans, and I plan on expanding those horizons as time goes on. I'm not sure when I knew I loved traveling. My dad says when I was 5 and we went to St. Croix. When we arrived home, things were a little rough at my house and within my family, and I kept on asking when we were going back to the magical place. My dad knew then that he needed to bring his family back to traveling because clearly it made a huge impact. For me, it was 6th grade, and I realized that it was because of rivers. When I was in 6th grade, I traveled to Germany, Switzerland, and Ireland, but my favorite by far was Switzerland because of that river, which flew underneath our hotel. I would stand by the window for hours just looking at it and just like being completely fascinated by the colors and the waves and just the sound. My friends didn't think it was that cool, but I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. Also in my 6th grade year, I traveled to an island in the Caribbean called Dominica, and there I let a crystal clear river run me on my back from the middle of a mountain to the mouth of the ocean. That is the most serene experience I've ever had, and my heart, a huge piece of my heart, lies on that island because that was life-changing. I truly believe that my heart gets crashed onto the beach with every passing wave. It's still there. So I believe that 6th grade is truly the year that I knew traveling had to be a part of my life forever. Another passion has been language. When I was young, I made my mom teach me a German word every night before I went to bed because she grew up in Germany when she was a kid. And then I would tell my grandparents the word and what it meant 100% of the time, just butchering the pronunciation. But they would just laugh and they would say I was so good at language, and that is probably the reason why I'm still completely inspired by it every day. I've been in French class since I was in kindergarten, so I'm going on my 12th year of French class. And I love it. I can't get enough of it. And I mean, one time in 8th grade, I got awarded a diploma for having the best French accent, and I still look at that. I still bring it out when I'm sad, and I'm like, I'm awesome. But another form of language was coding. I got introduced to coding my sophomore year of high school, and it was really scary because I'm not good with technology, but then I figured out it was just another language. I spent most of my time coding my website, Claire's Corner. There was even a portion that was dedicated to poems in French, just saying. And I learned how to code in CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. And I spent all my time coding websites, coding games, simulations, houses, and robots that weren't built yet. I was working on that part, but I was just completely inspired by coding. I really wanted it to be a part of my future, but I realized that being a computational linguist was very rare, and so I decided that I wasn't going to code in my future except for my own personal things like websites, but instead to focus on French. So my dad has been a huge supporter. He's been a role model for all of his children, but specifically to me because he's an engineer like my brothers, so it's easy for him to support them. But with me, he's tried so hard, he's gone way out of his way for me. When my inspiration was with performing, he was at every audition, finale, opening night, and everything in between while shedding tears of pride for his daughter. Now that it's French, he makes me teach him French words every night at dinner, helps me study for tests, even though he doesn't know what he's talking about, what he's reading, what I'm saying, and doesn't know how to pronounce anything. But he tries so hard, and for that I am forever grateful. And he's just a huge, huge role model and someone I look up to, and I think he looks up to me as well. So up until last year, when someone asked me what I was doing with my future, I would break into cold sweats and awkwardly just moonwalk out of the room. But it's just the future terrified me. I didn't know how to incorporate all of my passions. I was very naive. I thought that it was just gonna come to me. I was like, I got time. But I soon realized that's not how it worked. But last year, my sophomore year, I had an epiphany. And that was the University of St. Anne. Not the actual university itself, but a woman that came from there to talk to Miss Fineman's French 3 class about an immersion program. I was immediately interested, but unfortunately I couldn't attend because I had already committed to a summer job. But after she gave her presentation, I stayed after class and I talked to her. And in that conversation, she made me realize what I wanted to do with my future, and that was be a French teacher. That brings us to today. I'm still traveling. I just got back from Italy and Greece with a bunch of you guys. I loved it. I loved every single part of it, every experience I had. And I'm currently finishing French 4, and I'm enrolled in AP French for my senior year. My dad, who is my #1 fan, is taking my family and I to an island in the Caribbean that's an only French-speaking island, and they're relying on me to be the translator. So if that doesn't show you how dedicated he is to support me, I don't know what will. In addition, not pictured, I teach Sunday school to help with the teaching aspect of my future, which helps because I'm teaching young kids, which is the age group that I want to teach when I become, hopefully, a French teacher. So for the future, these are my top colleges. University of Maine specifically because it offers the double major that I want to do, which is one of them is French language and culture and the other is French education. It's also a great opportunity because I have so many resources there. I know a lot of people from my church that went for the same thing that I want to go for. Both of my brothers attend there. It's affordable and it's close to home. My second choice is Sweetbriar College. They actually reached out to me, and now I'm in communications with them about the resources they can offer for me. It's an all-girls school in Virginia, and it's got an absolutely beautiful campus, and it's got a riding range for equestrian training, which is something I wanted to do when I was a kid, but then I got kicked in the head by a horse, and I realized not all horses are nice. It's probably not what I want to do in my future. But it's gorgeous, and I love Virginia, so hopefully that will work out. But also, my REACH school is McGill. I meet all of their requirements, and they meet mine. However, it is a very big school, and I'm not sure that's exactly what I'm looking for, but it's in Canada, so it offers a lot of outside resources if I wanted to try immersion. In addition, all of these schools offer abroad programs for studying. For Roanoke, American University and University of Alberta, I don't know too much about them other than I meet their criteria and they meet mine. Roanoke is also in Virginia. I'm planning on visiting there this summer to see how I feel on the campus. American University, I have friends there that are going there right now. I have friends that went there, and I have family friends that went there. I've heard all good things, and I'm visiting there this summer as well. And then University of Alberta, I didn't know about it until 2 or 3 days ago, and my close family friend was telling me about it. I was talking to her about my transition speech, and she graduated from there. And I realized, like, yeah, this is really awesome. So I did a little bit of research to figure out if it was an option for me, and it was. So those are my choices for college, and they offer great resources. So to conclude, to bring in all of my previous passions, except for performing, I can do that in the shower, I plan to incorporate all of them in my future, and I think that being a French teacher is a great option for me to include traveling as well as teaching as well as language. So that's my future plan. Thank you. Questions?
Do you hope to sing in college even though you weren't like searching it out?
I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. I feel like my glory days were in high school, and I feel like I might be too centered on passing French. But if I do get the opportunity and I have time for it, I'd love to. But it's not a realistic opportunity for me right now. Liam?
Are you considering studying abroad in France?
Yes, I am. Margaret Jeffrey actually studied abroad in her college experience, and she's talked to me a lot about it because she also majored in French. So I think that would be a great opportunity for me, and it incorporates my love for traveling.
Yes.
So, Lindsay?
When you like grow up and are older, do you want to teach somewhere like here or like in a city?
Well, I don't know if I really want to come back to MDI for my life, but I do like this kind of community. I don't think I'd enjoy teaching in a city because I'm a very anxious person, and that would not be a good fit for my life. But maybe for a short period of time, but not for long term.
Have you ever thought about what it might be like to teach the English language in France?
I have. That's another option for me because of my love for traveling. I've also done a couple research projects on French cultures where I could teach, specifically islands, because if you couldn't tell, I'm definitely an island girl. But I have thought about that, and that really interests me. So by having a double major, I will be allowed to do that.
What do you mean by islands? Like, what's the connection there?
Just because my dad takes us to islands, like that's where I.
No, I mean in the future.
Oh, well, I have always been like completely in love with islands, and so it was actually my mom's idea that I teach on a French-speaking island, and it was her idea because she wants to come visit me and have like like drinks on the beach with my dad. I'm like, okay. But then I realized that, yeah, that is a really good option because I love islands. I love the feel of islands, and I'd really love to teach at a French-speaking place.
And did you have any specific examples, ones that you know?
Yeah, so I was looking at Martinique because it's really pretty. I wasn't looking at Guadeloupe, which is where we're going this December, but I did a little bit of research afterwards after I figured out what it was and why we were going. And that might also be an option for me, as well as Prince Edward Island in Canada. It's not really like an island, but because it is in Canada, and it's one of the only regions of Canada that doesn't have French as one of its main languages. So I thought it would be really cool to like see what that was and try different dialects as well. That's a huge thing for me, is trying to figure out like why do they speak the way that they do. Like that's not what I learned, but seeing like how I can infer what they're saying.
Sure. All right. Thank you, Claire.
I can't find my thing.